Awesome. From Brisbane and from myself, Cameron Boyd, the General Manager of Flight Centre Travel Academy, massive welcome. Happy World Environment Day. Super excited to have a really cool staff and student event today, and our special guest, Take Three from the Sea. Really keen to hear the update from you. Just a really quick 2-second update from myself. So our relationship with Take Three from the Sea started about 18 months ago. We first met them at a Flight Centre Travel Group global gathering in Bali. This is where Take Three for the Sea were special guests there, running sessions around cleanup sessions in the beaches in Bali. We connected straight away with the whole purpose of what Take Three does, and that connection with making our tourism destinations more beautiful and more sustainable was an automatic connection for us. Since then, we've had some really good conversations. We've built Take Three from the Sea as a partner for our sustainable tourism program. So there's now education and work experience opportunities we've got for our students with Take Three from the Sea, which is an amazing opportunity, and they've been really supportive in that front. One of the key people who helped us in that was Jenny. That was over the last 18 months. Jenny's now become CEO of Take Three from the Sea. She's pretty sure Jenny's on the call.
She is on the call. She'll be helping me today
awesome.
as well.
Perfect. Well, congratulations on your new role, Jenny, and thanks
Cameron.
again
for welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us on this really important day.
Thanks, Jenny. So that's it from me. I'll hand over to Caitlin for her update from Take Three from the Sea. Thanks so much, Caitlin.
Thank you so much, Cam. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for all being here today. I know that a few of you are in your very early hours of the morning, especially over in Perth at the moment. So we do really, really appreciate you guys being here with us as well. So before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land. I am in a Wabakal country at the moment, so in Newcastle in New South Wales. And we want to pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. So Take Three acknowledges the traditional owners of the country here and throughout Australia and recognises their continuing connection to the land, waters and culture. So my name is Kate and I've been working for Take Three for the Sea for about 5 years now. I'm a marine scientist from Newcastle, New South Wales. I'm an avid scuba diver. And so I joined forces with Take Three as a volunteer actually in 2017 when I was noticing a lot of the plastic pollution was coming into my dive sites and I was getting really concerned as what it was doing to the environment. And so reached out to Take Three, became a volunteer, and then a couple of years later I became one of their lead educators. And that meant that I got to go around to schools and universities and corporates and talk to people about plastic pollution and the issue. And so since then, I've worked my way through Take Three and it is an amazing organisation and I am very, very grateful to be working with them for so long. So as you are all aware, it is World Environment Day today. So World Environment Day is celebrated annually on the 5th of June. It's a global event dedicated to encouraging awareness and action for the protection of the environment. So the day aims to inform and educate people about environmental issues such as climate change, deforestation, pollution, and biodiversity loss. It also encourages action. Yes.
Sorry, the screen, it's gone back to your white screen. We can't see. There we go. Awesome.
Is that?
Thank you. Yep.
That's okay. Is it still good?
No, we just lost it again.
Oh no.
There we go. Yep, it's there now.
See it?
Yep.
Now?
Perfect. Yep.
Okay.
All good.
Still see it?
No, it keeps dropping.
It's not working?
No.
Oh no. What's happening? All right. I might try.
Here we go. Yep, it's there now.
Okay. All right. We might. I don't know what's happening. So if I do this, what can you guys see?
It's the white screen now.
White screen still. I wonder why. All right, that's okay. I've got my speaking notes, but I don't think I'll be able to use them if I continue on the screen, which is fine. Okay. All right. So what Take 3 is, this is a little bit of a video about what Take 3 is. So Cameron and I did a little bit of work this morning to see if we could find some sound on this. If it doesn't work, Jenny Lee is going to put in the chat the link for this video. So if for some reason everyone online cannot hear this through mine, please click on this video link and watch it yourself. It takes about 4 minutes. Can you hear it, Cameron?
No.
Take 3 started.
Oh, yep. Yep.
You
got it
can?
now. Yep.
Take 3 started in this house, in pretty much this same room. And we just came up with this idea of how we could make a difference in terms of the amount of plastic pollution ending up on our oceans. I always collected rubbish when I went down to the beach, and Mandy just decided to extend that and said we need everyone to collect rubbish.
Take 3 has been such a success because it's been a simple message. We started off with 10 and whittled it down to 5, and then 3 was a number that was more doable. My son at the time was 11 and he surfed, and I just pictured in my head him with a surfboard under one hand and just grab that amount, and it's just a doable amount.
The mission of Take 3 is pretty clear. We want to stop and solve plastic pollution. Every piece of litter causes harm.
Our convenience is killing us. Having the ability just to use something which is a valuable resource once, then throwing it away is slowly but surely like killing our planet.
Who are we to be taking from future generations, particularly when it's this insignificant stuff like a plastic straw or a plastic bag? It doesn't make sense to me.
The first thing we tackled as Take 3 was trying to get the user groups involved with being responsible for taking more than only their rubbish.
I just felt like the surfing community had to be the first and foremost people to know about it.
We recognise that surfers are very influential creatures.
I thought if people saw them doing it, they'd be like, oh, that must be what you do when you're at the beach.
Also at the same time, we were realising the importance of inspiring and educating young people. We love this idea of education that inspires participation.
From there, it's just been a series of upward achievements, really.
We found that our Instagram hashtag, Take 3 for the Sea, has been applied in 129 countries around the world.
Even doing a TEDx talk on the issue is significant.
I've had the opportunity to share the Take 3 message in Washington, DC, in the State Department, no less. We've got partnerships with the World Surf League, and it's so wonderful to have an organisation like TOMRA who are perfectly aligned to our mission. Millions of people have adopted this very valuable but underreported action of just picking up a few bits of trash.
We've had this incredible ability to really touch people and really help them to realise what the consequences are and to make change.
This is a snowball now. This issue, when we first started, it sounded like you were shouting out and there was nothing coming back. But now we don't even have to shout, we just whisper and it just reverberates. This is an issue now. And that to me is what we did this for. We wanted to see an appreciation of this problem that would then start to translate into those significant changes. So I think we can be proud that we're on our way. It's incredibly uplifting. It's incredibly empowering to know that through the hard work, commitment, determination of this core team of people within Take 3, we've been able to have such a profound impact on the environment.
Okay, so essentially that was the story of Take 3. What I love about that so much is it was just two friends realizing how much plastic pollution was happening in their local area, and they wanted to make a change. And so they joined heads with their friend, and the three of them were able to create this incredible situation, this incredible movement of Take 3 for the Sea. So I think that that is an incredible story, and I just love telling that whenever I get to go to cleanups or any events that we do. So the Take 3 message is really, really simple. It's essentially just take 3 pieces of rubbish with you wherever you leave the beach, waterway, or anywhere, and you are making a difference. And I know that you guys are doing a cleanup this afternoon or after this presentation. And so you guys will be making a big difference when you guys go and do that. I will be going through a lot more about that after we kind of get to the end of this. But I'm so proud of everyone for doing that. It's a really great cause. Okay, so since 2010, Take 3, the organisation and the community have done some incredible work. So as you can see on the screen, our community has removed over 10 million pieces of litter from the environment. We've educated over 750,000 students, and the hashtag Take 3 for the Sea is across 129 different countries. So it is a global movement. Incredible. By 2025, so in a year, on your screen, this is what our goals are. So we want to remove about 50 million pieces of rubbish. We want to educate 1 million students, and we want to reach 30 million people through our social media. So we've got a little way to go, but we're really getting there. The Take 3 programs align with the Sustainable Development Goals as well. So Take 3 is proud to support 9 of the 17 SDGs through our programs and our campaigns. So enough about Take 3 for now. Let's talk more about the ocean. So why is the ocean so important? It's a valid question. After all, humans live on land. So why should we care about the health of our oceans and our seas? Besides the fact that oceans are home to countless marine species, they also greatly contribute to the health of animals that live on land and provide many benefits to humans. The ocean produces more than 50% of the planet's oxygen, and it regulates our climate. We're also able to rely on our oceans to transport goods, and it contributes to the worldwide economy through the tourism, food, and other industries. And not to mention, communities across the globe rely on fish for protein and other ingredients used to make modern medicine. So what is this plastic pollution problem? I'm sure we all keep hearing about this on the media. That's why we're here today. So to demonstrate just how much plastic is in our lives, I want to do a little activity. I want you to count how many pieces of plastic are on you right now. So think outside the box a little. What are your hair ties made out of? Or do you have buttons on your shirts? What about your shoes or anything on you at the moment? So this exercise is designed to get everyone to stop and think about the plastic in your lives. Plastic is an amazing material. In 60 years, plastic has transformed our lives due to its qualities. It's cheap, it's versatile, it's convenient, it's lightweight and strong, it's waterproof, and it's hygienic. Just think about how much plastic is used in food and medical settings. The problem is not so much the material, but it's what we're doing and using that material for, and what we're doing when we're done with it. So approximately 8.3 billion metric tons of plastic has been created since the 1950s, and virtually all of that plastic still exists today. So plastic's durability, which makes it so useful and versatile, also means it doesn't break down like organic matters. Only 9% of plastic has been recycled and 12% has been burnt, meaning that about 664 million tonnes of plastic still exists. So should we really be using all of this single-use plastic we consume, or is there a better way about this? One of the major impacts of plastic is, like I mentioned before, it doesn't break down into organic building blocks. It doesn't break down like bananas or apples would. It's not biodegradable. Instead, it breaks up into micro or nanoplastics. So plastic fragments so small that they can be ingested by even the smallest animals in our oceans and are very, very hard to remove from the environment. There is very limited data on the impacts of microplastics and but they have been found in our oceans, our animals, soils, and our drinking water. They have also been found in humans. So what are the impacts that plastic has on humans? We're not even remotely immune to the impacts of plastic pollution. While scientists are still measuring the exact extent of impacts, they are definitely concerned. Microplastics are tiny plastic particles that can be ingested through our food, water, and our air. Microplastics have been found in a wide range of food and beverages, including seafood, salt, and bottled water. Consumption of these contaminated foods introduce microplastics into our human body. Microplastics are present in the air, especially in urban areas, and can be inhaled and accumulated in the respiratory system. So once ingested or inhaled, microplastics can accumulate in organs and tissues, potentially leading to inflammatory responses and other health problems. Plastic particles have been found in human bloodstream, in the placenta, and there have been new studies conducted by scientists that indicate plastic is now found in men's sperm. On top of that, we aren't really good at making sure that our waste goes into the right environment when we're done with it. It is estimated that every minute a garbage truck of plastic or waste enters our oceans around the world. That equates to approximately 8 million tons of plastic that's dumped into our ocean every single year. It's a pretty scary thought. So in 2019, an international cleanup was conducted. As you can see on the screen, these were the top 10 items found. All of these are single-use items. I've got another video now. Again, Jenny Lee is going to pop this into the chat for anyone that cannot hear the video. But plastic is also linked to climate change. So I'm going to play this video and then we're going to have a bit of a talk about it in a second.
I think the phenomenon of plastics that we're seeing get worse and worse, and that we have witnessed over history get worse, definitely speaks to the disposable treatment of our planet. It's expected that by 2050, based on current trajectories, there could be a tripling of plastic production.
Just this year, they found microplastics in human lungs and also in our blood.
It's just another big stressor on our climate that we can't afford.
Single-use plastic is actually killing our planet.
Plastic is quite ubiquitous in everything we have in our homes, in our workplace, everything from our furniture to the things we buy at the grocery store.
About 8 billion tonnes of plastic enters the ocean each year. And of course, once it enters the ocean, it's there to be potentially consumed or entangle marine creatures.
So we know that it's causing a problem to ecosystems, but it was only relatively recently that we started thinking about plastics producing greenhouse gases.
Plastics are closely linked to climate change. Every step of the way of the life cycle requires some form of energy or some release of greenhouse gases.
Plastic production, because it virtually all comes from fossil fuels, creates problems at any stage.
Every step of the life cycle, from extraction right through to recycling, contributes to our climate change issues.
And if it ends up in the environment, that also releases greenhouse gas.
No matter what you do with the plastic, it's going to still be releasing those gases because it's the nature of that plastic, that material that is made out of fossil fuels.
There was a report that came out in 2019 from the Centre for International Environmental Law that estimated that global plastic production produced about as much greenhouse gas as 190 coal-fired power stations. And this is set to triple by 2050.
If plastic was a country, it would actually be the 5th largest emitter on the planet. In Australia alone, over 3 million tonnes of plastic is being produced each year. So 1 kilo of plastic actually creates 6 kilos of greenhouse gases. And 95% of all that plastic, it ends up being thrown out after one single use.
We are second only to Singapore for the highest per capita consumption of single-use plastic.
Shows the disposable way that we're treating the planet and the way that we're engaging with our environment and our resources as though they're things we can just take and use and disregard easily. And this kind of system of living as a species is single-handedly destroying the planet that we live on.
So to tackle the climate crisis, we need to do a lot of different things. We need to produce our energy in a different way. We need to consume in a different way. The sorts of decisions that we can make, each of us in our everyday lives, is to use less plastic.
We have to start thinking about what we're buying. We have to look at everything we buy because everything's got plastic in it.
We've got to start producing materials that are useful to us from things other than fossil fuels. And we've also got to just produce less stuff and throw away less stuff. We've got to sort of go back to what our grandparents did, which was to buy one thing and use it till it really fell over, rather than discard things every day because it's convenient. So I think we've got to have a different mindset about the things that we consume and think of things that we buy as forever things, not just one-day things.
We continue to treat the planet as disposable and its resources as something to just take and use it and not live sustainably and won't, we will see the collapse of ecosystems. And it's crucial to remember that we live not exclusive from these ecosystems, but within them and through them, and that all of our actions are having direct impacts on them, and that the consequences we'll see within the environment will have direct impacts on us.
Oh. Sorry, guys, just trying to get to my presentation again, but it seems that YouTube has decided to take over. That's okay if I just... All right, we back? All right. So I do just want to check in. I know that this is very overwhelming for you all. And I know that there's a lot of information that you guys will be taking in right now. So I don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed, and we will have a little bit of time for questions and comments at the end. But just keep in mind that although there is a lot of information, it kind of starts to get a little bit less daunting the more we look into it. So let's talk about the solution. So that's always one of our kind of favorite topics here at Take 3. What can we do with all of this plastic pollution? So the most beneficial thing that you can do as individuals is reduce the amount of single-use plastics that you are using. It doesn't have to be too hard. You just need to make a single, simple change. And over time, that is going to be like muscle memory for you. The easier it gets every single day. So this video is in relation to our New South Wales plastic ban that happened at the end of 2022. I know that not all of you guys are in New South Wales. A lot of you are throughout Australia. However, a lot of these rules and regulations are very similar. So I'm going to play you this video now. Again, Jenny Lee is going to pop it in to the chat, and I go from there.
The ocean. It's our life support system, regulates our climate and inspires with its beauty and power. But plastic pollution is killing it. So from November 1, certain single-use plastics will be banned in New South Wales. It's easy to be part of the solution. Simply BYO. Bring your own reusables with you to takeaways, restaurants, and cafes.
I love to BYO. It helps me feel connected to something bigger than me. So I BYO a lot of things. When I first started, the way that I remembered was by a reminder on my phone, making sure that they're in places that I can always see before I leave the house.
My trick is I just leave it in the car.
Putting my keys with my stuff before I leave.
I keep my register of my bag.
And now it's just like automatic.
As you start doing it, it actually gets easier to actually just be like, I don't need that.
I think you're an absolute legend if you start using things that are yours instead of killing the world around you. You're choosing a little less convenience for the greater good of the entire planet. It's our convenience that's killing us. So that's what needs to go. I just wish that more people would be encouraged to take responsibility for their own consumption, because it's the most empowering, rewarding thing. And you're rebellious if you stand up for yourself and for the planet. And it is cooler. Like, it is way cooler to have this like lovely little patterned keep cup than to be having like your generic plastic garbage.
Imagine if back in the days we would make a spear, and once we hit an animal, we break the spear and chuck it away. After many hours of making that spear, like, it makes no sense.
Everyone suffers if we all just use the easier option.
I want to see the oceans go back to the way my old people used to talk about.
Some things are left behind.
So as you saw in the video, there are so many different alternatives to single-use plastics. Imagine if I just snap my fingers right now and all of the single-use plastics in the world just disappeared today. We would be able to find alternatives for every single item. So why is it so hard for us to stop the production of single-use plastics? Let's have a little talk about some simple swaps that you as consumers are able to do. So bringing your own keep cup when you go out for coffees or hot chocolates or teas. If you've forgotten your keep cup, why don't you eat in instead of taking it away? Or if by some chance you really, really need that coffee and you don't have your keep cup with you and you don't have time to sit in, then say no to the lid, because that's still reducing that plastic pollution by 50%. So when you go out and grab your takeaway food items and bring it home, do you need that plastic fork, or can you say no to that? Do you need to carry it in a plastic bag? Can you, when you go out for lunch, take your own container and bring it back to the office? What about your single-use plastic water bottles? Do you need to purchase a single-use plastic water bottle every time you want to drink? Or can you purchase a reusable one like the glass one on the screen, or an aluminium one? Swap out your single-use grocery bags for either mesh or fabric bags. That way you can continue to use them over and over again without them getting less and less. So with recycling, not much actually gets recycled. It actually gets downcycled, which by definition is an item made into a product of lesser value than what it is. So for example, if you have a plastic water bottle and it gets downcycled, it's most likely going to be downcycled into something like a plastic bag. Now, over time, that plastic bag is going to be so flimsy that it cannot be recycled or downcycled anymore, and it ends up in our landfill. So for every item that we are using, the best thing to do is to have something that's reusable rather than recyclable. Saying no to items that either end up in landfill or recycled is the best way. Now, there are a couple of items that can be recycled indefinitely. One of them is glass, and then the other one is aluminium. So if by some chance you go into the service station, you're really desperate for a drink, find something that's either in a glass or aluminium over plastic as well. So they're just some simple changes. And a lot of places, for example, where I am in Newcastle, will have initiatives for people to bring their own BYO coffee cups. So my local cafe gives me 50 cents off every coffee that I buy if I BYO my own cup. And that is because we talked about this a little bit before with tourism. They want their place to be pristine. So they don't want litter around their location, their cafe, especially because it's right on the beach. And so they're doing something for the environment. They're also doing something for their consumers. And so I think there's so many great initiatives out there that if you look hard enough, you'll be able to find. Also, where I am in Newcastle, we have our farmers markets every Sunday. And so essentially that's a plastic-free environment. You go in, all of your coffees are either have there in their ceramic cups or you need to BYO. All of their fruits and vegetables aren't individually wrapped. And so I think it's really, really important to get people into a habit of just changing one thing that they are doing. And over time, that is going to be so consistent that they don't need to think about it anymore. A really good example of that is every single time I leave the house, I have my bag. And in my bag, I have a cutlery set, just in case I do want to eat out. In my cutlery set, I have 2 forks, 2 knives, 2 spoons. And a couple of months ago, I was flying down to Melbourne with Take 3 for the Sea for an event. And it's so standard for me to pick up my bag and take that everywhere I go. Unfortunately, I went through customs and got stopped, obviously, because I have a knife in my bag. So they confiscated my 2 knives, fair enough, but I didn't even think of taking them out because it was such a second habit for me to bring them everywhere that I go that because of that, I lost my 2 50-cent knives. So making habits and daily changes or weekly changes can just be the simplest of actions that can, over time, make the biggest difference. Another one that my dad used to do when I was growing up, he would leave my keys in the fridge with my lunch. So I would make sure that I remembered to pick up my lunch. So I was also doing that with things like my Keep Cup. I would put my keys inside of my Keep Cup every morning. So I would go to the key ring and go, oh no, oh, my keys are with my Keep Cup. I'll take my Keep Cup with me. So simple changes. Making those simple swaps is very minimal, but it's definitely changed the way that I've kind of thought about things. So for those of you who are already on your plastic pollution journey and you already have your Keep Cups or your reusable drink bottles, what can you do next? So the next step is to start speaking up. So much of how we learn and grow as humans is through observing others. 70 to 90% of our communication is our body language, which means that we communicate through our actions as well. So social norms are established by seeing other people's behaviors. And when we want to make changes and refuse, we think that it's the social norm when the people surrounding us are doing the same thing. So you can simply model this behavior. Education with children is also a really big one. They are the next generation. So if you do have children or younger siblings, please educate them. Tell them what we've talked about today. So this is one of my favorite quotes. It's only one straw, said 8 billion people. So I always get asked, what difference does it make if I pick up 3 pieces of rubbish or if I say no to 1 straw? So this example is one of my favorites. So essentially, it's just outlining that if every single person says no to one piece of plastic, then we're reducing that amount by 8 billion, which is all of the people in the world. So if you say no to all of the plastic that you have said yes to in the past week, imagine how much plastic you could have saved. It wouldn't have been either put into the recycling anymore or ended up in landfill. So by removing litter, and no matter how many pieces, you're stopping it from entering our oceans. You are making a difference. When you add more people to that mix, that's where the magic really does happen. So Take 3 has created a community which is connected and engaged and contributing to the reduction of plastic pollution. So it is very, very exciting that you guys are now part of that as well. So what's your next steps? I know that you guys are just about to go out for your cleanup. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over a few of the steps that you guys will need to know before you go out there. So every kit that was sent to you, and I know Melbourne, I don't know if you have your kit yet, but we've got a data collection sheet. So I've filled one out, as you can see here. So there, you should be in a group of however many people, and each group should have one of these data collection sheets. These have all of the litter items that you could potentially pick up. It is a very, very tedious list. However, if you don't know what you're picking up, you just need to write a little note. What you're going to do is every item that you collect, you're going to tally on this list. This list is really, really important because it goes into a data system that over time, we can look at the trends in that area. A really good example of this for all of you Sydney people is Take 3 over the past few years have been conducting cleanups at Manly Cove Beach. Over the past few years, we've noticed a lot more of the sushi containers, the little soy sauce fish containers and their lids. And so we were tallying up our rubbish, we were putting that in our data system, and we were noticing that there was a massive increase. And so we took this to the local authorities, and they informed us that 3 new sushi restaurants had opened up within a 500-meter radius of where we were cleaning up. So what that meant is we knew where that source of litter was coming from. The local government agencies were then able to go to each individual restaurant and see if they could reduce the amount of soy sauce containers that they were handing out. So instead of putting them in every single sushi container, they were asking people whether they wanted them or not. Or another one of the sushi restaurants was using a pump bottle instead of the takeaway containers. And so in the last year, we've noticed a big decrease in them. So the work that you guys are going to be doing today is very, very important. Essentially, it's a social science. And so we've got our sheets. We're filling them out of everything that we're picking up. Whatever isn't on here, we're going to be writing down. Now, there is some safety stuff that I do need to talk to you guys about as well. I'm hoping that all of you guys will have your gloves on or picking up your items with your tongs or some form of other ways to pick up the rubbish if you don't have your gloves on. Now, we've just got to be careful of the area that we're at, whether we're by the water or not. You guys shouldn't be putting your hands anywhere that you cannot see them. So in rock crevices, underneath buildings, or anything like that. We are in Australia. We all know that we've got our spiders, snakes, although they should be in hibernation by now. Regardless, we don't want anyone getting hurt. With glass, just be really careful. If you don't have a sharps container, I would recommend picking up glass and putting it somewhere separate. The reason for that is I don't want anyone that needs to go through that rubbish if you do at the end to put your hand in that bucket or bag and get stabbed by those pieces of glass. So just separating that glass is really, really important. In terms of what to pick up, we're not going to be picking up anything that is organic. So essentially anything that's biodegradable. So your food products can all stay. If you're along the beach or waterway, any coral fragments, any shells, anything like that, Don't need to pick up any green litter, so your leaves or your barks. Wood that does have paint on it, so building material, can be picked up and put into your containers. The reason for that is the paint will easily chip off, and that then can go into the environment. And so you're able to put that in your rubbish collection. One that we do for a group is, I like to mention, is your dog poo bags. Pardon me. Obviously, dog poo is biodegradable. The bags are not. What I would recommend is the same as glass, picking that up and putting that in a separate bag. You don't want that squishing in with the rest of the items and it be smelly for the rest of the afternoon. If you do find sharps, so your needles, please dispose of them properly. Do not touch them with your gloved hands. Find something else to pick them up with. And if you don't have your special dedicated sharp container, then maybe having a separate bucket. I wouldn't even put them in a bag, in a bucket, and then disposing of them afterwards as well. So just making sure that we're taking the right steps to have a safe and fun cleanup. So again, depending on weather as well, if it is, pardon me, if it is sunny where you are, maybe you're up north, making sure you're wearing your sunscreen and your hats. And if it's a little bit colder here, like I am at the moment, making sure that you're wearing your warmer clothes. Having enclosed shoes is also a big important one. You never know what you're going to find and where you're going to find it as well. So with the sheets, I'm not sure whether the heads of your officers are going to put the data in themselves or they're sending them back to Take 3. But once you're finished with your sheets, just put your location at the top, and that's really, really important to input into the website as well. Okay, does anybody have any questions, any theories, anything that we want to discuss at all, whether about the presentation or about the cleanup coming up? If you guys want to put it in the chat, you can as well if you're a little bit shy.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Leanne.
Yes, sharps containers.
Yes.
So if we do find needles or anything like that, how do we dispose of the actual sharps container at the end of the day?
So you will need to do that in a, usually your council of where you are will have a sharps container pickups person that comes out. So what we usually do at the office, because we do this so often, we'll make sure that they're full before they get disposed of. However, if you guys don't think that you'll ever use them again, then it's probably best to find the council in your location that is able to do that for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is a really good question. And with that as well, when we're putting them in point down as well, making sure that our hands are well away. So even putting that sharps container on the ground, stepping away from it, leaning over and popping the sharps down with a point facing down. All right, does anybody else have any questions?
Just a quick one, Kate.
Hi, Cam. Yeah, of course.
So yeah, lots of our locations today, we're actually quite close to head offices and cities and parks that are relatively clean, and there's probably a lot of other places that have a bigger need. But I guess just with the fact that we've now got all these amazing gloves and the bags and things like that,
yeah,
are we okay for individuals to take them home with them and then use them in the future? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely encourage that at Take 3 as well. So go out, do your own cleanups, do your own litter audits as well. You don't necessarily need one of your lists like the data collection sheet from the Australian Marine Debris Initiative. You can just write everything down. And then if you really wanted to, you can still input this into the data system.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I did want to mention, Cam, I love that you've said it's a relatively clean area. We always get this when we do our cleanups on beaches that have been either raked beforehand or seem relatively tidy. I guarantee that you guys will find quite a significant amount once you do start looking. So I am really, really interested to see how much everyone does collect.
Yeah, you're so right. Yeah, just doing a quick scout yesterday.
Yeah.
When you turn your mind to actually looking,
Oh,
something that looks relatively clean, you're right. It's just, and it's the little bits. It's just these little bits that are everywhere. That it'll be good to get out amongst it and get started today. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
The other thing that's really interesting to share between the different groups afterwards as well is what you've actually found. Different locations and destinations will be attracting different kinds of litter. So having a discussion and thinking about that after the cleanups would be really interesting too.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kate, for your presentation. That was just, really insightful. And I know, everyone who's seen the videos and heard your update this morning has taken a lot out of that. So, thank you so much for that. And thank you, Jenny, for being with us today. Great to have you on board as well and see our partnership progress. Can't wait to get this information and send it back to you and, give you an update of the day.
Thank you so much, Cam. And thank you everyone who has come out and joined us today and everyone that is going out to do the cleanup as well. You're making a difference.
Thanks,
Great.
everyone.
Thanks so much.
Have a great day.
Perfect.
See ya.
And we'll leave you in the hands of each of your state coordinators now, guys, to do your cleanup work, and we'll report back to everyone at the end of the day.
Thank you, guys.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.